I see that we are live on YouTube, Marissa.
Yeah, let's give it a couple more seconds to get all the way there.
No problem. I have it pulled up on a second screen just so I can see it, but I really have no need to watch that per se.
Okay, there we go.
All right, fantastic. Well, good evening, everyone. Let's get this our presentation up.
So we're ready to go. Seth, do you want to take the lead and tell us about your project?
Marissa, could you put the PowerPoint up, please?
Okay.
Yeah, Marissa, this is Roy. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I thought you could see it. Hold on.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. We're going to wait for the PowerPoint to get up. And I want to make a few
I'm going to start us
general
off. I'll do the intro and then I'll let
Seth.
Seth.
I'll make a few general comments for the public, and then we'll have you go. All right. All right, I want to welcome everyone to the Community Zoning Information Meeting for August 8th, 2020. My name is Nathan Lombardo. I'm the Planning and Zoning Administrator for the City of South Fulton. On tonight with me are Marissa Jackson and Dana Gray, our city planners. Tonight's meeting, this will be the first of a few meetings of the cases that we have on the agenda for tonight. We have a community zoning meeting right now. Planning Commission is next week on the 18th, and they will all be at a future city council meeting for public hearings and votes as well. The purpose of this meeting is to be informative, answer questions as best we can, given the information we have available tonight and our technical limitations. And I appreciate both our applicants' patience with our technical limitations and the entire internet who is watching technical or generosity with their willingness to be accepting of our technological limitations. You could submit questions in the YouTube comments, which we will see, or you can email us at planning, PLANNING, at cityofsouthfultonga.gov. And I will personally see those because I'm watching that inbox. So if any come in that are pertinent, I'll chime in and vocalize those, and we'll try to answer. Also remember, you can call and email city staff at any time, and we will do our best to get back to you in a very timely manner. You can email us, call us in the office, or submit over C-Click-Fix. So now we can start with our first case, 2210 Wallace Road. The petitioner is proposing to rezone from AG1 to CUP for the purpose of building single-family homes. And I know that we have some of the members of that team chomping at the bit to talk with us, and I will turn the floor over.
Yes, so good afternoon. Thank you guys for having us. We appreciate that. I'm the facilitator. My name is Roy Harris, and I'm a real estate broker here in Atlanta.
Proposing to rezone from AG1 to CUP.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I think there's a slight delay between Zoom and YouTube. So if you are listening to us on YouTube, try and turn that down. And if you're not speaking directly, try and mute yourself, please.
Okay. As I was saying, I'm a real estate broker working with our investment team to bring you a nice project here on Wallace Road. It's a small project. It's going to be approximately 12 acres, or it is approximately 12 acres. And we're going to build approximately 38 homes on that site. And, you know, they're going to be, the square footage will be anywhere from 2,200 to 2,600 square feet. The estimated home value is going to be 300,000 plus. And from my experience, of course, this type of project will enhance and increase the property values for the people in that immediate area. I'm going to let Chuck take over here and talk about the technical aspects of the property. Chuck Abbott is with CZIM Collaborative, and he's our civil engineer. So
thank you. This is Nathan again. I want to chime in. Our next slide, I want to go ahead and click to that, is a zoning map and an area map, so we can just see where it is. If you want to talk anything briefly about this, but as anyone can see, the zoning, the site is AG1 and is surrounded with residential zoning.
yeah, and so it's right off of Wallace Road, about halfway down in the middle. And as you know, they're about to right up the street, open up that new Publix right there at Camp Creek and Campbellton Road. So I think this would be another added benefit to that community and the city of South Fulton as well. So it's a nice, quiet neighborhood. It's surrounded by subdivisions. So to have an additional subdivision, a small subdivision that's really not going to impact traffic or anything like that, would be a benefit to the community.
Let's click to the next slide too. We have that site plan for you there it is.
Yeah, and so Chuck, I'll let you chime in now.
Sounds good. Yeah, thanks. Thanks so much, Roy. Yeah, I'm Chuck Abbott. I'm the civil engineer at CZIM Collaborative. And yeah, the plan we're presenting to you today is the 2210 Wallace Road plan. It's currently 12.6 acres, and we're developing 38 single-family detached units on it. We're proposing to have public 50-foot right-of-way streets. We're coming in opposite the existing entrance on James Madison Drive. As you can see, our lot sizes are minimum lot size of 8,000 square feet, which is approximately a 60 by 133 lot. This project will have public water, which will be accessing from Wallace Road, as well as public sewer, which we will run a sanitary outfall down Wallace Road and a tie into the existing sanitary line that crosses Wallace Road in the right of way. We will also mitigate our stormwater with a stormwater management facility, which we're showing in the southeast corner of the project. I believe these homes will have a heated square foot space of approximately 2,200 square feet and larger. Pretty much just standard residential construction for this project. The site's currently wooded. We will have a tree survey done at time of our land disturbance permit and preserve trees as applicable on our site. So if there are any other questions or any other civil specific questions, I'd be happy to answer.
This may not be a civil question, but I'll go ahead and say as a general statement on a site plan like this, or it wouldn't necessarily have to be on this particular site plan, but at some point in the development process, we'll have a discussion about any kind of buffering on Wallace Road between the rear of those lots and the street itself, so there's not direct rear access and views of the back of houses from the street. So I know that's something that will be addressed at some point in the future. So if anyone is listening, know that concern will be addressed.
Yes, I agree with you completely on that, Nathan. Definitely a minimum 10-foot landscape strip will be through there, possibly even a landscape berm.
Oh, very nice.
But will be designed in a way that residents can still exit the subdivision safely, yet screen the rear of the houses from Wallace Road as people.
Fantastic.
So, yes.
Okay, Marissa, do we have any comments that have come in on YouTube that we can see?
Yes, Miss Andrea Morgan is asking who the developer is and if any of the homes will have basement.
You want me to take that, Chuck?
Yeah, Roy. Yeah, and I'll take basements.
Okay, so the developer is IHD, and it's a local company here in Atlanta. It's a development company. And Chuck, you can talk about because we are going to do some basement lots. So go ahead, Chuck.
We will, just in order to mitigate some of the topo and just really work with the topo on the site. Which we haven't completed our final grading plan, but the lots 12 through 18 have a high probability that they will be basements. Possibly units 37 and 36 may be a reverse basement where you're kind of entering the garage and you will have like an upstairs patio on the first level above that. So there will be basements. Yes, we do not know exactly to what extent yet, but it will not just be a mass grade all slabs.
Anything else on YouTube, Marissa?
Yeah, so someone asked what district Wallace Road is in. So Wallace Road is in District 1. Someone asked if these will be townhomes. They will not. I believe they are all to be single family homes.
Exactly.
And then someone also, Miss Maybell Martin, is concerned about traffic off Wallace Road. And as part of the pre-application planning process, we did consult with the traffic engineer to address traffic concerns and all of that stuff also. So I wanted to let you know that it has been reviewed by a traffic engineer to provide recommendations on how to mitigate traffic. And I believe we're ready to move on to the next one if you guys are.
If there's no more comments from the petitioners, we can definitely move on to the next case.
Thank you, guys.
All right, thank you so much. We're going to jump ahead to 20004-8185 Spence Road. And we'll come back to the other ones. So who's on for Spence Road? The seeking to rezone from AG1 to M1 to build a warehouse. This is an interesting location. The surrounding area is zoned AG1, but there is industrial zoning in South Fulton catacorn to the site. And in the vicinity, but not directly adjacent, there are also industrial developments bordering this site, not in the city of South Fulton. Otherwise, all the area of this property that borders it in South Fulton is agricultural and does have some residential development. So is anyone here from 8185 Spence Road project?
Yes, this is Harold Buckley, and I am an attorney for the applicant, Brian Cardoza, and Brian is also on the line as well.
Yes, hey, good evening. This is Brian Cardoza.
All right, well, the floor is yours, gentlemen.
Okay, is it okay if I share my screen just so that I can orient everyone?
We actually have your site plan and maps on ours as well, but if you might have better pictures, I'm not sure.
I pulled the site up on Google Earth,
Yeah.
just to
Marissa,
give you an
Marissa,
idea
go
of the
ahead.
surrounding area.
Yeah, we have, Marissa, go ahead and keep ours up and just go to the slide after that, to the text slide, please. There you go.
All right, so you can see our site on the small aerial that you have on this slide. It is where the red dot is showing. We are on Spence Road. We are about a quarter mile away from the intersection of Spence and Lee's Mill Road. Heading to the east and then heading to the west, we're maybe about a mile or so from Oakley Industrial Boulevard. What we are proposing is a warehouse distribution center on this site, which is 19 acres.
Go ahead and click to the next slide, Marissa. Sorry about the interruption. I apologize. There you go.
No worries. We expect the vehicles accessing our site to come from I-85, and they would exit I-85 at it's showing on my aerial as Fairburn Industrial Boulevard, but they would exit the freeway, go down to Oakley Industrial Boulevard, and make that turn, and then turn on to Spence Road. Between our site and the interstate is a number of other warehouse distribution centers. This is an established warehouse distribution area. I do recognize that the nearby warehouse facilities are in a different jurisdiction, but in terms of conditions on the ground, that is what is in the surrounding area. And as a result of the heavy warehousing character of this development node, what you also see a good bit in this area is sort of the interspersal of single family residential development and industrial warehouse development. In terms of our proposed building itself, we're proposing a 252,000 square foot distribution center, which is actually on the smaller end of the warehouse distribution size scale. To give you an idea of what that looks like, at the corner of Spence Road and Oakley Industrial Boulevard, there is an existing distribution center for PPG Industries. That building is 317,000 square feet. So our building would be about 20% smaller than that existing distribution at Oakley Industrial and Spence Road. In addition to the character of the surrounding developments, in general, our site backs up to the Odessa Auto Auction site. So that is a very large automobile-oriented and industrial development in character. We do abut a single-family residential neighbor to the east. But what we are doing is providing a substantial buffer between our proposed building and that next door neighbor. Our warehouse building will be about 285 feet away from the property line that we share with that neighbor. And there is about 100 feet of thick tree cover that's located in that space. So although we will physically sit next door to another residential property, the buffer that we are providing means that there would be no impact on that house from our facility. So with that brief explanation, I'll go ahead and just sort of turn it over to any questions that anyone might have.
I want to thank you for addressing the buffering area there. Would you talk a little bit about the traffic impact on Spence Road?
So on Spence Road, what we're looking at in the peak morning and peak evening periods, we would be looking at about 43 truck trips. Those would be the heaviest periods of the day, with that morning peak hour and that evening peak hour. And again, we expect the trucks to travel directly between our facility and I-85 using Spence Road and Oakley Industrial to get back up to the entrance to the interstate. It is possible for trucks to turn and go the other way, but given that, if you go the other way, you wind up winding your way back to I-85 a much further distance away. There's no advantage really for truck drivers to make that left out of our facility and go anywhere when they can make the right and be right at the interstate.
Yeah, I did notice that on the expanded maps, if you zoom out, the interstate is not very far away from this at all. Marissa, are there any questions on YouTube? I do not have any in the planning inbox.
Nope, no questions on YouTube about this one yet. Dana, are there any questions on the planning email?
No, I have that pulled up. There are not any in the planning inbox right now. Okay, well, with nothing on YouTube, we can move on to the next case. Thank you, gentlemen, so much.
Thank you.
We're going to go to a use permit for 3515 Butner Road. This is an interesting case. This is a permit for a church that is existing, and it's just a non-conforming use in their area. They want to expand, and so they want to make sure that all of their I's are dotted and their T's are crossed appropriately, which I certainly appreciate. Is anyone on from 3515 Butner Road for the church use permit?
This is the architect, Kevin Whipple from CSC Design.
Thank you. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what the plan is and what's going to be going on there?
Yes, absolutely. So the Berean Bible Baptist Church, as you discussed, is looking to expand. They're really going to, excuse me, build a new sanctuary and classroom facility in front of the existing sanctuary that is currently on the property. There will be about 488 seats in the new sanctuary, which is only, I believe, a slight increase from their existing sanctuary. They will then repurpose the existing sanctuary into a family life center or family center for fellowship as well. We are trying to clean up. We looked to see if there was an active special use permit on the property, and city staff assisted us to the extent feasible. It appeared that there was one, but through open records research and whatnot, was unable to actually track down the actual special use permit. So we discussed with the church, and it was decided to go ahead and reapply for the special use. At the same time, we are requesting or asking for one variance, which is to remove the requisite to allow for no replanting required in the front 50-foot overlay buffer. I'm not sure if you guys have a Google Earth image of the front of the current property, but if you
We
do,
may scan, let's scroll to the slide before this. It might have kept, the street view was, I guess the camera on the top of that car was not working that day.
if I can share my screen, I can show it to everybody, but I don't want to presume. So
If it's technically possible, you can go right ahead.
now let's see what happens. I cannot share it well. I guess if you guys can stop sharing yours, let's see what happens here. Okay, can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the current front of the church. You'll see here, I'm not sure if you can see my cursor, but that with the 4 white columns in front is the existing sanctuary. And then to the left of that in the back here is a addition that was done for classroom purposes, as well as a small kitchen. Our new expansion will basically be going in the front here in this grass area, with parking and the drive lane wrapping around the building for fire access, as well as to satisfy the parking requirement. What we're asking for in a variance is to, as you can see, there is no real significant plantings along Butner Road currently. So we're requesting a variance to not have to replant this 50-foot buffer along Butner Road since it is currently unplanted. All of the remaining undisturbed areas around the perimeter of the church, especially those abutting the adjacent residential properties, will remain undisturbed and heavily wooded as they are currently.
And will the use for this new building are they going to repurpose the church building, or will they, and I'm sorry if I missed that, I was replying to an email, but if, is it going to be repurpose the church building or new functions in the new building?
So the new expansion will have a sanctuary and classroom facilities in it.
Okay, great.
The existing sanctuary will be turned into like a fellowship hall, basically.
I'm sorry about that. Thank you.
That's all right. Yep. And then the existing classroom wing is slated to actually be demolished.
Okay.
So I'll go ahead and stop sharing my screen unless anybody has any questions.
I have no questions in the planning inbox. Marissa, are there any on YouTube?
I have one question that's quasi unrelated, but someone asked if there were 2 City of South Fulton channels, and there aren't necessarily 2 channels, but we use different links to broadcast meetings depending on what they are. So you should always check online, and we'll always post the link to the meeting on our website so that people know which link to use.
Thank you for that. If there's no other questions or comments from this group, we can move on to the next case, which won't take us very far physically in the world. It is for the same site, and it's a use permit for a daycare at the church facility. Is there anyone on for the second 3515 Butner Road case?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon. This is Keelia Smith.
Hello, the floor is yours.
Yeah, so I am requesting a special use permit for Ollie's Tots Learning Center LLC. We're currently located on 2700 Butner Road, which is like 5 minutes away from the proposed site. And basically, we're just trying to relocate to the Berean Bible Baptist Church.
I know that we had received some comments about the need for a sprinkler system being added here. How did that resolve itself? I don't know if the architect for the expansion is still on, if you could comment on that at all, or if they were involved in that. But was there further discussions about sprinkler systems for this business?
Yes, well, Lieutenant, oh gosh, I can't think of her name right now, but City of South Fulton, the fire department visited the facility. So instead of using the classroom, we're just going to use the fellowship hall. And there is an exit door in the fellowship hall that can accommodate at least 100 people, so to speak. So therefore, a sprinkler system will not be required at this time.
I'm very happy to hear that that was thoroughly researched for obvious reasons. I have no comments online in the planning mailbox. Are there any on YouTube that we've gotten?
Not at this time.
Okay, is there any more questions from the crowd here online? If not, thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a great evening.
You do the same. Okay, I believe the next one is V20001. There we go. This is variance on the setbacks for the construction of a single family house. The issue here is that the lot is not particularly deep, and there is a wetland area on the site. In addition, the petitioner would like to preserve a grove of trees that is on the lot, not tear them down, which is certainly nice. Is anyone online here with 3975 Oglesby Road? I know this petitioner lives far away, so it might have been logistically challenging to get a hold of him. I know this is all online. But we can go ahead and go to the next slide and see where it is. It's in a neighborhood, it's zoned fine appropriately. But let's go to the next slide as well, please. You can see where the state waters are, which is a stream. There are large setbacks and buffering required. And so he was looking for relief from those in order to fit a house on the lot. It would be appropriate for the area, and given that he was going to try and preserve the mature trees that were on the lot in order to accommodate his wishes, we'll see what the council and everyone has to say, but I appreciated the fact that he wanted to be as environmental as possible, shall we say, in constructing this house. And given the hardships faced on this particular lot, hopefully he can be accommodated there. So if he's online, we can move on to the next one, which will be V20003 Campbellton Road. This is a Publix, and they want to add an additional sign outside of our regulations in terms of quantity. This would be a pharmacy drive-through sign. Is anyone from 50, and I believe that the address here is 5829, and I found a letter. There was some clarification needed early in this process when this was being built on the address. So I believe someone is here for this one, and let us know which address is the correct one, but I believe it's 29.
Hi, it's Valerie with Anchor Sign.
Yes.
And yes, the address is 5829 Campbellton Road.
Thank you so much.
Suite 110 is what I have.
Perfect. All right, well, tell us what's going on.
Well, the standard Publix package, when they have a pharmacy drive-through, is to have an additional sign on the front facade letting customers know when they're coming into the shopping center that there is a pharmacy drive-through. So really the sign is just part of a standard Publix package. It's just for this municipality, it's over the quantity.
I got you. Marissa, can we switch to the next slide just so we can show the location for posterity's sake here? I know the shopping center is there. I guess the Google Street View was, I guess they were probably just driving a little fast that day to not catch it. But you can see in some of the aerials what's been developed there already.
Yeah, it's under construction now. I'm sorry.
Fantastic. No, you're fine. You're fine. Yes, this is just like you said, the standard sign package for a Publix. I have no comments in the planning inbox. Marissa, is there any comments in the YouTube for this one?
Nope, not at this time.
Is there anything else that the petitioner needs to say about this petition here?
Just that we feel that it's very important to be able to have this sign. So this way there's no confusion in the actual parking lot. Because it's on the same side as the pharmacy drive-through, as the canopy. So it really will help steer traffic in that direction.
Well, we certainly appreciate that. Anything to help alleviate congestion is obviously going to be very well received. So we thank you for that. Okay, we can move on from the next to the next one. It's V20. Yeah, I'm sorry.
I have a message from John Perlman. It
Sure.
says that he's on the line but can't figure out how to talk. And it says that he had some address confusion between 5827 and 5829. But I think that Valerie just clarified that it's 5829. So we're good.
And which suite was it again, ma'am?
I have suite 110. And I
Okay,
can talk
but
to
I'm sure
John tomorrow and just verify, make sure that we're on the same page.
Okay.
Okay.
I know those shopping centers can be challenging with when they were originally a parcel, they're one address, and then they get chopped up into a bunch of little ones, and it can be very confusing and difficult to get that established.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
okay, if there's nothing else, we can move on to the next one. 2004. So I'm anxious to hear more about this one. This is for, and as the best I could ascertain, this is for relief from the Sandtown overlay design guidelines for a proposed warehousing development. In my research for this, I noticed on the maps, and it was the only industrial parcel in the Sandtown overlay. And I had imagined that if there was more frontage, there's no frontage on Fulton Industrial Boulevard in the city of South Fulton for this property. So I can imagine that it might have gotten placed into the Fulton Industrial overlay had that been the case. But I know that adjacent to this, there is industrial development and the Fulton industrial overlay. And so the petitioner is asking to be held to the design guidelines of the Fulton industrial overlay and not those of the Sandtown overlay. And if someone's online, they can tell me if I have misspoken.
All right, this is Henry Bailey, counsel for the applicant, CHI, and John Bateman is also on the line, who's the applicant representative. John, are you there? Can you hear us?
I'm here.
The floor is yours, sir.
All right, so as you stated, this is a variance request. We are requesting several variances from the Sandtown overlay district, 12 variances in total. Let me know if you want me to go through each one of them. I'm happy to do that if so. You just tell me what you want me to do there. Sorry?
I'm sorry, if you would repeat that question for us one more time, I apologize for that.
Would you like for me to go through each one of the 12 variances we're requesting?
If you would just list them so that if anyone on YouTube is listening, and then we could have it in this record as well.
Sure. Okay. So the first variance is from section 12F.4.B.7, which is allow green or black vinyl coated chain link fencing to secure tenant areas where not visible from Fulton Industrial Boulevard. The second one is section 12.4.4.C.1, which is to allow sidewalks along only one side of the private road that runs through the development. The next one is section 12F.4.D.3, which is to allow energy efficient LED light fixtures. And the next one is section 12F.4.D.8, which is to allow light fixtures in the form of Cobra or shoebox light fixtures.
Excuse me, please. If you are not a petitioner for this particular case, would you be so kind as to mute your phone or computer or however you are calling into this call, please? I'd appreciate it. Thank you. You can go on, sir.
Okay. Where did I leave off? Number 6, section 12F.4.E.2, which is to allow only exterior facades visible from Fulton Industrial Boulevard to provide variations such as columns, arcades, covered entry walkways, arches, facade offsets, windows, balconies, offset walls, clock towers, cupolas, and or courtyards, consistent with section 12N3A4A of the Fulton Industrial Business District Overlay. Again, this is going back to your comment earlier about Sandtown sort of being a misplacement, if you will, not to say anything negative, and for us to be more aligned with the Fulton Industrial Business District Overlay. Number 7 is to allow only exterior facades visible from Fulton Industrial Boulevard to provide an architectural treatment of stucco, stone, brick, wood, or other similar alternative treatment approved by the Director of Planning and Community Services, consistent with the same section with the Fulton Industrial Business District overlay. The eighth request, variance request is section 12F.4.E.15 to allow reinforced concrete tilt-up with architectural reveals as the building material for exterior walls and accents. Number 9 is section 12F.4.E.7 to allow the fenestration requirement to be satisfied by providing 40% of the exterior facade of the office portion of the buildings as windows. Number 10 is section 12F.4.E.16, which to allow mechanically attached thermoplastic polyolefin roof material. Number 11 is a variance from section 12F.4.E.17 to allow a white roof. Section 12, the last one is section 12F.4.E.18 to allow a low pitch roof. So as a bit of a summary, and John, correct me if I'm wrong here, but as a bit of a summary of each of these variants that we're requesting, is sort of to bring the buildings and the site development to be more aligned with what you might find on an industrial warehouse type of building, as opposed to the requirements put forth by the Sandtown Overlay District. That's the sort of nature of all the variance requests. If we were to follow the strict letter of the zoning ordinance with respect to Sandtown, it would not be feasible to develop the industrial warehouse buildings here.
Right. Marissa, could you flip back to the slide before this so we could show the maps, please? So if this property, it does have Fulton industrial frontage, correct?
Well, yeah.
Correct.
Go ahead.
But it's not in the city of South Fulton.
That is correct. The adjacent property and the property fronting Fulton Industrial Boulevard, where the property is accessed from, is all zoned M2 as well, and is a part of this parcel.
Yes. Is there any development or access coming through the area? It looks like there's 2 zonings on your property somehow. Is any of this development going to be happening in the MIX zoned location we see on the map? And is any, and you're going to have to forgive me for not having that street that's on the other side of the property at the tip of my tongue. Is any access to this development going to happen from any street other than Fulton Industrial? I get that maybe some incidental access, but where is the traffic going to flow to and from? And will it be going into the Sandtown, that intersection in the Sandtown Overlay District that's nearby?
The only access is on Fulton Industrial Boulevard, and there's actually an existing, and this property does not border Riverside. We're about 1,000 feet off of Riverside.
Okay, that was a question. I'm this is purely speculation. I have a feeling that had you had Fulton Industrial frontage in the city of South Fulton, we may be in a different situation we're in today, but it just seems like the bad luck of your draw, I suppose, with this. But again, that's not my opinion to have. But it's just interesting how this one property is in the Sandtown Overlay zoned M2, and there's no others there. So, is there any other comments in YouTube or any other comments from anyone on this call? I have none in the planning inbox.
I have one. What will the warehouse be used for? Is one of the comments from YouTube.
These will be light industrial distribution and fulfillment, but the exact user is not yet known. But they will be developed to light industrial standards as opposed to the heavy industrial, which the property is actually zoned for.
Fair enough. Any other comments on YouTube, Marissa?
Not at this time.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen, so much. We are going to move on.
Thank you, guys.
Take care. We have case 2005. This is another interesting one. I guess they're all interesting in their own way, though, but that's just me. We're looking for a variance in the setback requirement between M1 and AG1. This particular property is zoned M1, but it is next to a property zoned AG1. The plot twist is that the property zoned AG1 has a non-conforming, long-standing non-conforming industrial use already on it, and is surrounded by other industrial zone properties. They're wanting to put truck parking there, but the buffering and setback requirements due to the AG1 nearby make that unusually difficult. If we could go to the next slide, it's a combination of both the highlighted blue property and the one above it, and you can see how the property is next to an AG1 property that is surrounded by all industrial properties there. So it's a real interesting zoning situation with the city. The city may want to look into in and of itself. That is not the correct street picture for it. I think the Google car was messed up that day as well. But if we can go to the next slide, I believe there is a site plan for this one here. Yes. So you can see it's a longer piece of property than what is just shown on that map. Is anyone online for this property, which is at South Cooks Road with an S? No one is on from this one. There's another plot twist. Okay. I have no comments in the planning inbox. Is anyone on YouTube have any comments on this one, Marissa?
Nope, I don't see any comments
Okay.
on the YouTube so far for this one.
Gotcha. And we can loop around at the end if any more come in. So this is a variance. If the AG1 was zoned like its surrounding property, we would not be having this issue. So it may be an issue that the city should look into to take some initiative, considering there's an industrial use on the property anyway. So we can now jump back to the cases that we postponed at the beginning. 20001, we can just scroll to the top of our presentation here. This is a rezoning at 6705 Camp Valley Road, and it took me forever to find this one on the map as a side note. There's a Camp Road and a Camp Valley, but I believe I found the right one. So rezoning from SH to townhome, proposing a residential development mixed with townhomes and single family. Interestingly, they're proposing lower density than is actually allowed on the site. If we can go to our next slide, see where it is on the map, surrounded by residential developments, including townhomes and single family. There's nothing there right now. It's the dark gray and blue spot in the center of the screen there. Go to the next slide, please. Here's a site plan of the development, the proposal. Is anyone online for this one, 6705 Camp Valley Road?
Yes, Michelle Battle here for the applicant.
How are you, ma'am? The floor is yours.
Okay. As indicated, we are looking to amend the zoning on this particular property from SH to TR. The project was initially approved for a senior community based on, I guess, just issues with the development of that particular project. Property became available for development, and my client is interested in a sense, I don't know if we call it down zoning or laterally zoning it to TR in order to allow for the development of both single family homes and townhomes on the site. We believe that this will actually allow for lesser density than what was initially approved on this particular piece of property. Originally, we were looking at a total of 251 units that had been allowed for the senior housing at a density of 5.49 units per acre. We will now be looking at a total of 164 units at 3.59 units per acre. We believe that this is appropriate, particularly based on the fact that we are adjacent to some parcels that are zoned TR, including the Thornwood Park project, and I think it's called Madison, I apologize, I think it's Madison Trace or something like that. It's on the other side. That's also zoned TR.
Yeah, Marissa, if you'd flip back to the previous slide, we can see on that aerial map up in the right. Right to the left of that red dot there are all townhomes in those long U-shaped developments there. And then all across the street are single family homes. Michelle, that's correct what you were speaking of right there?
Correct. And so maximum density wise would be 9. We're only asking for 3.59 units per acre. We would have a total of 92 single family homes and 72 townhomes.
I got you. All right. Any more comments from the floor? I have one email at the planning website that has multi-questions, so I'm going to ask you one question at a time. So this is from Gloria Harrison. The first question is, my concern is since the property is already zoned for a senior citizen complex, why not just put single family homes there and do away with the townhomes? That's the first question.
I think because of the location, the costs, the overall desire to have kind of a mixture of product type that allows for diversity within the community. We believe that this would be appropriate and allows us, quite honestly, to downzone the property from the SH.
Second question here, and I have a few more here, is why so many?
Well, we believe that we actually, as indicated, are we're reducing the total amount of density on the site. So from our perspective, losing the number of units that we have, we don't feel like there are so many anymore. We were at 251 units. We are now at 164 units. So we've lost not quite 100 units, but that is a significant drop in the total number of units.
All right, thank you. The next point here is, what is the price range of the homes and townhomes you are anticipating?
I don't have an answer for you on that. I believe that we are looking somewhere in the 275 price range and up for the townhomes, and the single family homes would be probably somewhere in that 200 plus range. But I am doing a little bit of speculating, so I apologize. But that's kind of been what the market has bared on most of the townhome product that is being introduced into communities.
Mm-hmm. And Ms. Harrison had a comment here, and I don't know if
and I think the applicant is on here. Yeah, he may be able to answer that question too.
Oh, yeah, sure, go right ahead.
Yeah, Nathan, Ray Cunliffe with the Pacific Group.
Welcome.
Yeah, so I think a couple things on the price points. I would imagine the townhomes would probably be advertised from the high 100s, but likely transact kind of in the 200s.
Oh, well, then I would make sure you try and sell it to Michelle. She wants to give you a lot more money, so she might be a good first client there.
Yeah, and then the single families, probably starting in the mid 2s and up.
All right, thank you so much. Did you hear the other questions that were posed? I can repeat those quickly if you'd like me to.
Yeah, no, I think Michelle did a good job on those. I think she's
great.
Right on the currently it's zoned for 251 units. So as Michelle said, that we view the reduction of about 90 units as a good reduction. And then I think she asked a question about single family or versus townhomes. As Michelle said, having the mix of single families and towns, we view it as a nice mix for the community. But I do believe that our approach on it is a max. We want to kind of put a condition in that it's a max of 164 units.
Yeah. And
have some flexibility so that if we do want more single family homes, we can do that.
I gotcha. Marissa, would you please switch to the site plan for me? Thank you so much. The last comment from Ms. Harrison here was, she said she would like to see entrances elsewhere, although I'm going to go ahead and interject on that one, because if the street curves right in front of you, you're going to get those in pretty much where you can. And I will say, at least on this plan, from the staff perspective, I appreciate that you've put 2 entrances to help alleviate some of the traffic flow that would be there. I assume those are both entrance and exits and not one ways?
Correct.
Yeah, correct. So the one that's the pointers on the one furthest to south is the, I'll call it the main entrance. And the second one is considered kind of emergency access.
But it would be open, correct?
Yes.
Would that be just a right in and right out? Or would you still be, would traffic be backing up there inside the development to turn left if they needed to?
I think that's something we could work through with staff as we go through the process.
Sure. Well, as a sidebar, Michelle and I have had good discussions recently on other projects, so she knows I'll always have something to say about these, but that's neither here nor there yet. Ms. Harrison also commented she would like to see a traffic light at the main entrance. From the staff side, I don't have anything to add about a traffic light, but it could certainly be discussed with Public Works as to the appropriateness of a traffic light there.
Right. And I'd like to point out that there is no other place for us to have access to any adjacent roads. There's no other frontage that we have on any other.
Right. I have nothing else in the planning inbox. Marissa, is there any comments on YouTube?
Yes, we have a few.
I had a feeling, so go right ahead.
So Miss Morgan would like to know what district this is in.
And let's see. I know that. Go on to the next question. I will find that for you in just a second because I have that at the tip of my fingertips here. Just got to look it up.
Okay, who is the builder, not developer, but who's the builder?
We don't have a specific builder in place at the moment. Currently we're the property owners and we're kind of, I'll say, improving, rezoning the property so that we can market it to builders.
Okay.
This one is in District 6. And next question, Marissa.
So we already talked about how many townhomes versus single family and the price point, but that was
if you would just go ahead and read that just with the person who submitted name, just so that they know that they have been heard.
Yeah, so Councilmember Khalid asked who the builder is. He also asked how many townhomes versus single family, and he also wanted to know the price point. His next question is, will the homes have garages, 1-car garages, or 2-car garages?
So I think one of the things, kind of maybe to answer some or all of those questions, although we don't have a builder, definitely pinpointed at this point, what we'd like to do is provide some elevations for the process so that the community and staff and council can see what the product's going to look like for the single family and towns.
Okay.
So we'll provide some elevations to the city.
Okay, I think that the council member is implying that he would strongly prefer garages, if it's possible.
Yes, I think all of the units will have garages.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the question was, are they going to be 1 or 2-car garages? And that determination hasn't been made yet, but we will continue to look at those issues.
Okay, the council member is also wanting to know, is it possible to create another exit from this parcel onto Old National via Morris Road?
We've looked at that. There's no way for us to make that access. There's land in between us, and so we will not be able to make that connection.
Okay, and also the council member would like to know, does the developer have any intention to add a turning lane onto Camp Valley and or curb cut on the southbound lane of Camp Valley?
We haven't made those determinations. We can certainly talk with the transportation representative for the city. We haven't received any feedback from that perspective. So we will make it a point this week to get in touch. I think it's Tom, to discuss with him the transportation and traffic issues along Camp Valley and what will be required by the city.
Okay. And then Miss Elaine Stubbs would like to know, are you going to widen the road there?
We don't have, again, those are all things that your transportation department will be telling us what we will have to do. I can tell you that we will not be lengthening the entire length of Camp Valley. We may have to dedicate some right of way, depending upon what the required width is of Camp Valley. But in terms of whether or not that will result in widening the pavement, I think that is probably unlikely. But again, we have to have discussions with your transportation department. Our obligation is to address right-of-way issues along our frontage. So any improvements that we are making to Camp Valley will simply be along the frontage that we have on Camp Valley.
Okay. Next question is, what is the cross street for the Camp Valley project from Pink Giraffe?
That's a question. You'd have to pull up the. I'm not even sure from what street did she say?
She said, what is the cross street for the Camp Valley project?
Well, there is no cross street. I mean, we're on Camp Valley.
Does that site plan there say Campfire Drive? Is that what that is right there?
Yeah, I was going to say there's Campfire Drive nearby. I mean, I guess
I think the Pink Giraffe was the username of the person leaving a comment.
Gotcha.
Yes, that's the username. Yes, that's the username, not the street name.
Okay.
I'm like, what kind of businesses is sneaking in over there? Hold on a
I
second.
was like, I don't know what that is.
Okay. Next question is, when will the project start and finish?
Well, if we are, I guess, successful with this, we would look to put in for our land development permits and go through whatever preliminary plat requirements there would be. So, we would get started on kind of the engineering aspects pretty quickly, and probably wouldn't see any dirt coming out of the ground until sometime in maybe spring of next year.
Yeah.
Next question is from Cheryl Lee. We were told that this property, once zoned senior housing, could not be rezoned. Is this true?
No, it is not. Anything that's zoned is susceptible to being rezoned at a later date, particularly if a project can't move forward. And the senior project could not move forward.
Okay, the next question is, why wasn't senior housing developed? From Andrea Morgan.
Kevin, you might want to respond to that, because I don't have an answer to what impediments they found to building that.
Yeah, I'm not sure. We're relatively new property owners on this. We have had it marketed to builders and some senior housing builders in the past, and have not had much success. So that said, there seems to be a market for, or builder interest in building it as a residential community, even with a lower density than what can be provided in senior housing. So that's the reason for the rezoning.
Okay.
But what the prior owners' hurdles were, stumbling blocks were, I'm not sure.
Okay. The next question. Okay, so we have a question about the warehouse. So guys, let's finish the questions about the Camp Valley Road project, and then we'll revisit the warehouse ones. But
Yes.
It says, did you do a traffic study? Because there have been a lot of accidents in the curve where people have died. It says accidents in the curve with death. And
there's been no traffic study, and there was no intent of doing one. We will again have discussion with the transportation representative for the city for them to let us know what it is that we're going to be required to do.
Yeah, and
And
I think, Michelle, since we spoke last, I think we have one in process now. Just
Okay,
double
there you
check.
go. Well, sorry about that.
Nope, no problem.
And also, Miss Stubbs wants to ask if you're interested in buying her property. She has a property for sale on Campfire Drive, and Miss Andrea Morgan is a realtor who's willing to help her in that pursuit.
Well, there you have it.
We're getting lots of business done tonight. My goodness.
Okay.
Are we ready for Jonesboro Road?
Let's if there was just one question about the previous case, the industrial one.
Yeah.
Let's handle that real quick. Let's handle that real quickly.
So Southwest Atlanta says that the impact of warehouse overloading, it will lower property values not only in the area they are building, but in surrounding areas. We can't attract skilled workers here if we have nothing to offer.
All right, that comment is definitely noted for the record. Okay, we can then move on to Z20003. I didn't think that's the correct number. Jonesboro Road. 2 parcels, AG1 to senior housing with the intent of developing a senior living facility. To my comments here, this is an experienced developer building a product that they have done market research on, know there is a demand for, and it fits the area, both in terms of what is there, what could be there, and what the future land use map suggests for the area. If we go to the next slide, please. See the map here. There's 2 slides that like this for both these parcels. This is 25, and the next one we'll see is 95. But it's right on the curve of the road. 2 undeveloped parcels there, yeah, right next to one another. We'll go ahead and scroll to the next 2 slides. Are renderings. There's a site plan and a rendering of this development. We can go back to the site plan, and we'll turn this one over to anyone from this development. So 3825 Jonesboro.
This is Michelle Battle with Battle Law.
You strike again.
Representing the applicant, I have Carrie Cornelius on the call with us, and she's available as well to answer any questions. We're extremely excited about this particular location. Senior housing is definitely a need. I'm amazed that no one wanted the senior housing on the other side, but that tells you that there's some challenges with it because senior housing is very hot these days. We believe that this is an excellent location for these 100 units. Sorry, I think it's 110 units. My mind is bad today. Sorry about that. Nonetheless, this is a great location. We are right at the boundary line between Union City and the city of South Fulton. This will require a land use change as well as the rezoning. We believe that the land use change is appropriate for this particular property in this little area here, particularly when you look at the fact that really kind of the natural breaking line is the 100-foot plus wide Georgia Power easement that kind of separates us along with the other adjacent properties from the balance going along Jonesboro Road. This property has been listed for sale up with the balance of the property. We are only buying a portion of the property. The balance will remain zoned as is, and if anyone wants to come and develop that, if they seek to acquire, they will have to go through this process as well. CRN Development is a experienced senior housing developer. They have done projects throughout the Southeast and particularly in Georgia and in Alabama. They are looking to develop a quality senior housing multifamily product. This will be for seniors 62 and older. Additionally, we will have amenity areas that will be internal for the use of the community. including, oops, another extra one. And so we'll have an amenity area on the inside and on the exterior for the residents as well. And we're here to answer any questions you have.
I don't have any comments in the planning inbox. Are there any comments on YouTube?
There are none at this time. Oh wait, hold on.
I was going to say,
it
let's give that one about a minute, because I'm sure someone's going to want to say something about this one.
So DJ Inc. OG says, could this development end up like the previous one on Camp Valley?
No, because I know the city already really wants to develop this. This is not a developer kind of speculating. This is the actual builder. So the answer to that is no. They are looking to do this project. They're poised and ready as soon as if it is approved to move forward.
Any other questions from the entire internet or comments from the crew on the remaining on the call? All right, if not, that concludes my personal first CZIM meeting, and I know the first CZIM meeting that we've had in a while with the city. This has gone very well. I appreciate everyone for participating, for calling in and helping explain this to the community, for sending in your email questions, and for listening to me yab on for an hour on YouTube. So thank you all so much and have a great night.
Have a good evening.
You too.